Hi and welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name's Kaylin. I'm a dual UK and American citizen, and today we are talking about some of the best places in the UK that I have personally been. Okay, so one of my favorite things about the UK is how many beautiful places there are to see. So I've put together a list of, I would say, like nature-based destinations. So I haven't included like beautiful towns and cities. I've more focused on the natural beauty in the UK because there is a lot of it. And so this is a list of my favorites. Number 1, the Lake District in England. Beautiful, stunning, lakes everywhere, hence the name Lake District. Big lakes, small lakes, lakes that you can actually swim in, which is unusual for me coming from Florida because in Florida you do not swim in a lake because there could be an alligator or a brain-eating amoeba. True story, do not swim in Florida lakes, but you can swim in a lot of the lakes in the Lake District. And actually I did paddleboarding in Ullswater. I'm pretty sure it was Ullswater. It could have been a different lake, but it was one of the larger lakes in the Lake District. Did paddleboarding. If you've never done paddleboarding, it looks like this. I did think it was going to be easier, not gonna lie. It was very windy that day and the lake like had a current, and so I was expecting that we were gonna go out and it was gonna be like flat and we were just gonna be like paddling and picturesque. It was definitely an intense workout, and I'm not sure I spent most of it actually on the paddleboard versus falling into the lake, but it was so much fun. And the other thing that we do in the Lake District is called gilly scrambling, which is where you essentially go with a guide like down, it's not quite a river, but like a stream-ish kind of thing. I'll put up pictures, and you put on your helmets and you basically with your body go like down this stream, and you use the natural like slides that have been created to basically slide your way down. So much fun. And again, you're surrounded by beautiful scenery, just honestly one of the best places. I've been multiple times to multiple different places within the Lake District because it is very large, but it's definitely a place that I would recommend and I love going back to. The next place on my list is Kynance Cove in Cornwall, and I have only been one time, and that was enough to essentially convince me that I did not want to move back to America. I wanted to see what else the UK had to offer. I have never been somewhere in the UK that felt like I was on some like tropical beach vacation as much as this part of the world. Cornwall is obviously beautiful and very large, so I've specifically chosen Kynance Cove for this video to show you a picture here. You can swim in it. We didn't go swimming. We were kind of on a hike and looking at the scenery, but oh my gosh, the water is so pretty. We looked over the edge and there was a seal swimming, and I get it if you're from the UK, maybe a wild seal is just something that happens in your everyday life. I don't know. Coming from Florida in particular, wild alligators, yes. Wild seals, no. So to see a seal in the wild was really cute and really fun. And it was just bobbing up and down doing its thing. But this was definitely the highlight of my past like 10 years here. I love Kynance Cove. And yeah, we did the walks around like the Lizard Peninsula area, is that what it's called? And it was 10 out of 10. Would highly recommend if you are headed down to the Cornwall area to check out Kynance Cove. There was also a really, really nice cafe with amazing views. I'm basically about to book a trip as soon as I turn this camera off. Now the next place on my list, we're headed all the way up to Scotland to the Cairngorms. Cairngorms, I think I say it wrong every single time. It's a little bit difficult to say if you're not from the area and haven't said it your whole life. This is how it's spelled. I'm pretty sure I did okay, but let me know. This is basically just miles and miles and miles and miles and acres and acres and acres and acres of like Scottish wilderness. So I went here for the first time recently, ended up on a 13-mile hike. I was promised we were gonna go for like a 4-mile hike, but I got tricked both by the landscape and by the person I was with. But I did survive, and it was really, really nice to just walk through like forest, and then suddenly we were in the middle of like absolutely nowhere, like on the side of a mountain. Then we were in forest again. Then we were checking out these waterfalls. It was a really, really beautiful area a little bit barren in places. So it's definitely like an interesting landscape because we would be at first just in this like really lush forest, and then we were like really exposed on, like I said, this side of what felt like a mountain. But I would definitely recommend this, especially if you like outdoor adventure and you're in Scotland. I would like to go back and experience what it's like in the winter, obviously safely. I'm not about to get like stranded in the middle of nowhere, but I would like to see it in the winter. So if you have any tips for visiting this part of Scotland, definitely let me know in the comments below. Okay, still in Scotland for the next place on our list is a town. So this is a town called Crieff. However, I'm not specifically talking about like the town itself, but rather the surrounding areas to it. So again, this is all about nature. So Crieff is where the lowlands meet the highlands of Scotland, and it is just, again, beautiful. Really, really green, lots of like undulating landscapes, cows, horses, sheep, very, very like picturesque place to go. And because it is kind of this like town that has amenities, a really nice hotel and other places to stay, it's a good like base to explore the surrounding areas. Again, so you can go south or you can go north and you'll go to the highlands or the lowlands. It's just like a really, really pleasant and really beautiful place. The reason I know about it and have gone is because my husband's family had gone for like years and years and years as part of their family trips, going back to grandparents and things like that. So I naturally discovered it by eventually being a part of the family, and now it's definitely one of my favorite places to visit in the UK. And next we're going all the way south, all the way back south, down to the south coast of England, and I'm going to talk about the Cliffs of Dover. Dover itself, nothing to write home about. Wouldn't recommend it really, but Dover Castle, yes, but that's not what this video is about. But the Cliffs of Dover, if we're talking about the natural beauty of the area, are so worth seeing. And actually my favorite vantage point is not, there are some really good walks that you can take along the coast where you do get views. However, you can also take a boat ride out to sea and look at the coast from the sea, and that I think is the best way to see them and to really appreciate how beautiful it is. I had never seen any sort of natural landscape like this before moving to the UK. Obviously, I'm used to beaches being from Florida. They look way different. But the White Cliffs of Dover, I do think are very, very, very worth a visit if you're visiting the UK or just haven't been to this part of England before. Again, this is somewhere that I actually do go multiple times a year, maybe once a year, but I've been multiple times throughout my experience in the UK. So I do know the area quite well. And like I said, Dover itself, skip it. But the areas surrounding and the nature are definitely worth it. Next on my list is going further north from Dover in England, and that is going up to the Cotswolds. I feel like everybody knows about the Cotswolds. I'm not like exposing some new part of the UK that you've never heard of, but they are beautiful and they deserve a mention on this list. Everything from the thatched roofs to just like the countryside lanes, all of the greenery, all of the walks, all of the hikes. It's a really kind of like, it's not untouched in the sense that obviously there are lots of villages and stuff in the Cotswolds, but it's just a really peaceful part of England, unless you hit one of the villages when like the tourist buses are coming through, and then it's not. But if you're going in the off season or you manage to miss the tourists, then it is really beautiful. And again, just like lots of different things to see while it all looks very cohesive, like one giant garden to explore. I definitely would like to do a video in the future of me going to the Cotswolds because I've never actually filmed it before, so that might be something I take you along with me on. But yes, the Cotswolds definitely do deserve a place on this list. Next up, and I'm just chopping and changing here because we're going back to Scotland, the Isle of Skye. And again, this list is a place of places that I have personally been, which is how I know to include them in the list. The Isle of Skye, there's so many different things you can say about it. It is I'm not going to rank these in terms of what is the actual most beautiful, but if I had to, it is definitely up there on this list of really one of the most beautiful and wild places that I've ever been. I went to the Isle of Skye on a group tour, and so that did mean that we did get to see places that were kind of off the beaten path. It was like a small tour. I've never actually done it like on my own without a group, so that is something that I would like to do as well. But again, it was a small enough group that we really did get to stop and enjoy a lot of the places. I just think wild is the best way to describe a lot of the areas around there. It is a popular place to go, so it's a popular place that equally retains like its wildness feel, I guess is the best way to describe it. But if you are considering a visit to Scotland, the Isle of Skye is definitely one to put on your list. Okay, next on my list is a place in Wales called Conwy, and I did realize that I said I'm not including like towns in this list. However, I wasn't really thinking of the town of Conwy as much as I am about the views. So Conwy is a coastal town in Wales, and I guess when I picture it in my head to include in this video, I'm more thinking about the castle walls that you can walk on, but most importantly, the views that you get out to the sea. So it's just like a really, really nice, picturesque view of the sea and boats and people walking along eating ice cream. And I'm pretty sure we saw a dolphin or multiple dolphins. Like I'm almost positive that's where I saw dolphins. And so this is definitely in Wales, one of my favorite places to go. I will say I do like the interior of Wales and the rugged parts of like Snowdon. However, my favorite part of Wales is the coast of North Wales. So that's why I've included Conwy in this list, but really anywhere along the coast of North Wales I think is beautiful. And I would definitely recommend specifically stopping in Conwy if you are going to this part of Wales. And the last place on my list is something that you're probably not going to find in other videos, and that is the Chilterns. So the Chilterns you can access easily from London, which is why I've included them on this list, and it's kind of like a wide range of like area of outstanding natural beauty, it's called. I was gonna say national beauty, but it's natural beauty. And again, you can reach towns in the Chilterns very easily on the train from London, but the Chilterns are just really hilly, which is unusual for certain parts of England. So I've included a lot of places in this list that do have like varied and hilly landscape, but a lot of parts of England in particular are relatively flat. So the Chilterns are a really nice place to find that kind of the hills and the rolling countryside kind of atmosphere. Very, very green. And just lots of like amazing walks and hiking and great views, because with hills comes great views. So the Chiltern Hills or the Chilterns is maybe one of the more local places that I have on this list in terms of, I don't think a lot of tourists from outside the UK would come here, all the better. So the Chilterns are not touristy, they're just a really nice like local natural area, and I would definitely recommend. There's also a lot of National Trust places around the Chilterns, lots of gardens, just lots of natural beauty to explore. So again, if you're within the UK, I would definitely consider a visit to the Chilterns, maybe a weekend away. And if you are visiting from outside and you want to go somewhere more local that is not like the one village in the Cotswolds that every single tour group takes you to, maybe consider taking a train out to one of the villages in the Chilterns to go for a really nice walk and explore. Okay, that brings me to the end of this video. The question for today is, what do you think is the most beautiful place in the UK? Comment below and let me know which of my list you have been to. I would love to hear. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.